The story begins inside a high-security correctional facility for the criminally insane, where a young woman named Anita, who everyone calls Needy, is locked away in solitary confinement. Needy is aggressive and unhinged, attacking facility workers and demonstrating strange, volatile behavior. Through her inner monologue, she claims that hell is a teenage girl and begins to recount the bizarre, tragic sequence of events that led her to this institution.
The narrative shifts to the small, quiet town of Devil's Kettle, Minnesota, where Needy was once a quiet, insecure high school student. Her childhood best friend is Jennifer Check, a highly popular, dominant, and striking flag girl who commands attention wherever she goes. Despite having almost nothing in common and living in completely different social strata at school, the two share a deep bond that dates back to early childhood. Jennifer constantly bossed Needy around, treating her more like an assistant or an accessory than an equal. Yet Needy remained entirely loyal to her. Needy also has a sweet, supportive boyfriend named Chip, who often questions why Needy lets Jennifer walk all over her. Needy simply brushes it off, explaining that they have a long history together and share a deep visual connection, wearing matching BFF necklaces.
One evening, Jennifer convinces a reluctant Needy to skip her plans with Chip and go to Melody Lane, a local dive bar. A touring indie rock band called Low Shoulder is performing there, and Jennifer is determined to get close to the lead singer, Nikolai Wolf. After arriving at the crowded, dingy venue, Jennifer immediately sets her sights on Nikolai, engaging in aggressive flirting. During their conversation, Jennifer pretends to be a virgin to pique Nikolai's interest. As the band takes the stage to play their set, an electrical malfunction causes a massive fire to tear through the wooden bar. Panic ensues as patrons scramble for the doors, causing chaos and heavy casualties. Needy keeps her head and pulls a stunned, heavily intoxicated Jennifer out through a small bathroom window, just as the entire building is engulfed in flames.
Outside the burning building, amid the arriving emergency vehicles and screaming survivors, Nikolai and the members of Low Shoulder approach the two girls. They are completely unbothered by the tragedy and invite Jennifer to join them in their tour van. Needy is terrified and explicitly begs Jennifer not to get into the vehicle with the strange men. However, Jennifer is in a state of shock and trance-like fascination. She ignores Needy's warnings and climbs into the van, which quickly speeds away into the dark. Later that night, Needy is at home, unable to sleep and consumed by intense anxiety. Suddenly, Jennifer appears in Needy's bedroom, covered from head to toe in blood. She looks physically drained, shivering, and acting completely hollow. Needy tries to help her and asks what happened, but Jennifer doesn't answer clearly. Instead, she wanders into the kitchen and aggressively tries to eat raw food from the refrigerator. Her body immediately rejects the food, and she violently vomits a thick, tar-like black ferromagnetic fluid all over the floor before running out into the night. The following morning at school, the entire town is mourning the multiple students who died in the bar fire. To Needy's absolute shock, Jennifer arrives at school looking entirely healthy, vibrant, and completely normal. When Needy frantically asks her about the blood and the black vomit from the night before, Jennifer casually gaslights her, acting as if she has no idea what Needy is talking about and dismissing it as a bad dream. Furthermore, Jennifer shows a chilling lack of empathy regarding the classmates who perished in the fire. Later that day, the town's grief deepens when a student named Jonas, the captain of the high school football team, goes missing. In reality, Jennifer has lured him deep into the woods near the football field under the pretense of a romantic encounter. Once they are isolated, Jennifer's physical demeanor shifts drastically. She grows rows of razor-sharp teeth and brutally disembowels and devours the boy. Shortly after the murder, Jennifer is seen swimming entirely naked in the local lake, washing the massive amounts of blood from her skin. Meanwhile, Low Shoulder capitalizes on the bar fire tragedy. They falsely claim to have acted heroically during the disaster, which rapidly expands their fame and earns them a massive cult following. Their hit song, Through the Trees, becomes an unofficial anthem for the grieving high school, and the band offers to make a charity appearance at the school's upcoming spring formal dance. As the weeks pass, Jennifer's physical state fluctuates wildly based on her feeding cycle. When she hasn't eaten, she becomes pale, sickly, haggard, and develops severe acne and brittle hair. During one of these physical low points, she is approached by an alternative student named Colin Gray. Desperate to restore her strength and beauty, Jennifer accepts a date with him and leads him to an abandoned house in an uncompleted suburban subdivision. Inside a room lit by candles, Jennifer seduces Colin before turning into her demonic form, violently murdering and cannibalizing him. At the exact moment Colin is being killed, Needy is having sex with Chip. Suddenly, Needy experiences a terrifying psychic vision of a monstrous Jennifer, feeling a strong telepathic connection to the violence. Panicking, she leaves Chip's house and drives home. On the way, a blood-soaked Jennifer steps into the road, nearly getting hit by Needy's car. Needy rushes home and climbs into bed, only to find Jennifer waiting under her covers. Jennifer attempts to seduce Needy, and they briefly kiss before Needy snaps out of it and forcefully demands the truth. Seeing that she can no longer hide it, Jennifer finally explains what happened the night of the fire. She reveals that Low Shoulder drove her to a secluded spot in the woods near the town's waterfall whirlpool. The band members tied her up and revealed they were using a satanic ritual they found online to exchange a virgin sacrifice for mainstream fame, fortune, and a major record deal. Nikolai stabbed her in the heart with a sacrificial knife, but because Jennifer was not actually a virgin, the ritual went wrong. Instead of dying, her soul became permanently bonded with a bloodthirsty succubus demon. Jennifer proudly demonstrates her new supernatural traits to Needy, and showing how the wound instantly closes and heals without leaving a mark. She explains that as long as she regularly feeds on the flesh of boys, she remains virtually invincible, fast, and beautiful. She admits that her first victim was Ahmet, a foreign exchange student who everyone assumed died in the fire, followed by Jonas and Colin. Jennifer also casually mentions that she originally intended to eat Needy first on the night of the possession, but her lingering childhood affection for her best friend stopped her. Appalled and terrified, Needy kicks Jennifer out of her room, and Jennifer easily leaps out of the second-story window into the dark. The next day, Colin's body is discovered, throwing the high school into a state of absolute terror. Needy goes to the town library and spends hours researching occult literature. She uncovers texts about succubi, confirming that Jennifer is an ancient demon that feeds on human flesh to sustain her life and physical beauty. The text also notes a crucial vulnerability. The demon is weakest right before it feeds, and it can be permanently destroyed if stabbed directly through the heart while in this hungry state. Realizing that Jennifer's appetite is growing, Needy becomes deeply afraid that Chip will be the next target, especially with the spring formal approaching. She meets with Chip and tries to explain the supernatural truth about Jennifer. Chip completely refuses to believe her, thinking she is having a psychological breakdown. In a desperate attempt to keep him safe, Needy breaks up with him, explicitly begging him to stay away from the school dance, which she views as an all-you-can-eat buffet for Jennifer. Despite Needy's warnings, a hurt and confused Chip decides to attend the spring formal alone. As he walks through the dark towards the school, Jennifer intercepts him. She manipulates his emotions, lying to him by claiming that Needy had been cheating on him with Colin before he died. Shaken by the news, Chip gives in to Jennifer's advances, and they begin to kiss. Needy experiences another psychic jolt, sensing that Chip is in immediate danger. She runs out of the house and heads toward the woods. Nearby, Jennifer leads Chip away from the school grounds to an abandoned indoor public pool building located at the top of a hill. Once inside the dark, empty structure, Jennifer turns on him, biting into his neck and beginning to feed. Needy breaks into the building and discovers the horrific scene. She immediately leaps into the empty concrete pool and tries to drown Jennifer in a small puddle of water. Jennifer displays her demonic strength, hovering completely in mid-air above the pool to escape Needy's grasp. As Jennifer moves to aggressively counterattack Needy, Chip uses his remaining strength to pick up a long metal pool skimmer from the deck. He drives the sharp, broken end of the pole directly through Jennifer's stomach. Jennifer gasps and bleeds a small amount of dark fluid, but the wound is not fatal. Annoyed and weakened, she flies out of the building's broken roof and escapes into the night. Needy climbs out of the pool and cradles a heavily bleeding Chip in her arms. They exchange final professions of love before Chip dies from his severe neck wounds. Grief-stricken, angry, and entirely focused on revenge, Needy drives directly to Jennifer's house. She sneaks into the home and breaks into Jennifer's pink bedroom, yelling at her for killing Chip. Jennifer is resting on her bed, heavily weakened from the wound inflicted by Chip and desperate for a fresh meal. A violent physical struggle breaks out between the former best friends. Needy pulls out a sharp utility box cutter and slashes an X across Jennifer's stomach, which fails to slow her down. Jennifer overpowers Needy, pinning her down and biting deeply into her shoulder. In a final desperate move, Needy reaches up and forcefully rips the BFF necklace right off Jennifer's neck. The sudden action breaks Jennifer's focus, causing a brief flood of childhood memories that catches the demon off guard. Seizing the moment of hesitation, Needy raises the box cutter and drives it straight into Jennifer's heart. The demon is instantly destroyed. Jennifer's body goes limp and drops dead onto the bed. Seconds later, Jennifer's mother walks into the bedroom holding a laundry basket. She shrieks in horror as she finds a blood-stained Needy standing over the lifeless body of her daughter.
The story circles back to the present day. Because of the graphic scene, Needy was arrested and committed to the asylum. However, the deep bite she received from the demonic Jennifer during their final struggle altered her physiology. She has inherited some of Jennifer's supernatural abilities, including advanced physical strength and the power to levitate. Using her newfound strength, Needy violently breaks out of her solitary confinement cell, scaling the security walls and escaping the facility entirely. She hitchhikes a ride with a passing driver on a dark highway. When the driver asks where she is heading, Needy coldly states that she is following a rock band, noting that tonight will be their final show. As the final sequence unfolds through a series of crime scene photographs, home video recordings, and surveillance footage, the narrative reveals Needy's ultimate destination. She tracks Low Shoulder down to a luxury hotel room where they are celebrating their massive commercial success. Using her supernatural powers, Needy brutally, systematically murders every single member of the band, leaving Nikolai dead on the floor with the exact same sacrificial knife driven straight into his stomach. With her revenge complete, Needy walks away into the night.